Hi, my name is Jason Clark, and we're here at South Dakota State University to talk about corn nitrogen fertilizer recommendations. If you've heard recently, we're updating the recommendations. Today, we want to talk about why those changes are happening, not necessarily the math behind them, but more the biology and the climate that's happening in South Dakota that might be bringing on some of those changes. So let's go ahead and jump over to this PowerPoint and let's get started looking at some data as well as looking at some principles that we can learn from as well. So if we look here on this equation for determining our corn nitrogen recommendations, you can see that we start out with our yield goal. We multiply it by a coefficient, which we've seen that 1.2 is a little high, it should be around 1. We subtract our soil test N, we subtract our legume credit, and then we get our no-till debit, and we add that to the equation. And we get a recommendation, let's say 105 pounds of N nitrogen per acre, divide that by our percent of N in our product, and then we get pounds of product per acre recommendation. However, we've seen if we look at this coefficient right here, this 1.2 is actually shown to not be 1.2 in recent studies. It's actually closer to 1. And if we look at the data in this graph right here, we can see here if we're closer to 0, that means we're more accurate. We're closer to the actual requirement. The red box area here is using the 1.2 multiplier. The blue box is using the 1.0 multiplier. And the orange box, or yellow, is using the 0.8. We can see as we go from 1.2 to 1.0 to 0.8 that we're actually going from a positive 48 overestimation to a positive 13 overestimation to a negative 22 underestimation. And this blue box, representing 50% of the data that we're looking at, is more evenly distributed around 0 compared to that 1.2 and 0.8. Showing us the 1.0 will give us the most accurate recommendations on average. So the next question is, why are we seeing changes in South Dakota? And a lot of the reasons you can see here on this graphic. We're seeing an increase in corn yields. We are seeing an increase in fertilizer rates as well. Our climate in South Dakota is changing quite a bit. Our management is changing. We've gone a lot from tilled practices to no-till. Our rainfall is a little bit more sporadic. But the biggest thing is we're changing those things of management such as tillage and no-till, and moving from more tilled practices to more soil regenerative or soil health practices helps us improve our soils. So for example, some of the soil health principles of soil armor, keeping those roots intact, keeping things on the soil to help it be protected from rain and other events. We're also minimizing disturbance by not tilling or tilling less. We're letting that biota and those microbes and those fungi grow and not be disturbed. By planting a more diverse crop, instead of a 2-year rotation, do a 3 or 4-year rotation with a few more with different crops. We're getting different roots in the soil, which then have more biota and more things related to them. The more continual living roots we have through cover crops or additional crops throughout the year, we also get that. And in some parts where we're able to, we're integrating livestock. And all of these things help our soil be healthier. And when it's healthier, it shows that it helps that nitrogen cycle. And we're actually becoming more efficient, taking less pounds of nitrogen fertilizer to get a bushel of corn because our soil is likely healthier and able to provide the nutrients that corn crop needs. And as always, thank you for your time, and please go ahead and follow us here on social media and other outlets to get up-to-date information from SDSU Extension.